My mom sold the late dad's collection that he left for me to buy her freeloader boyfriend a car, then yelled, "He's my future husband, you're just a burden." Years later, karma wrecked them hard. Sup Reddit. I am sharing this on here because I need to get this off my chest. So yeah, my mom sold my dead dad's entire collection to buy her boyfriend a car 2 months after he died. I, 19 male. Now, my dad died when I was 13. He was the reliable, present kind of dad who actually showed up. Then diabetes said otherwise it started when I was 11. Type 2, the kind you get from bad genetics and worse luck. He managed it fine at first. Medication, diet changes, regular doctor visits, did everything right. His body said screw you anyway. Complications hit around when I turned 12. Vision problems, nerve damage in his feet. Then his kidneys started failing. I remember this one dinner. I was sitting there eating spaghetti while Dad tried to explain that the doctor wanted him to start dialysis 3 times a week. His kidneys were giving out. My mom, Leora, looked at him and said, "Well, that's inconvenient. I have that conference in Miami next month." Dad lasted about 8 months after that. Dialysis 3 days a week, getting weaker, losing weight. I'd help him after school, making sure he ate right, reminding him about his meds, just being there. Mom, she was out more than she was home. Work dinners, girls' nights, spa weekends, anywhere but dealing with her dying husband. The night Dad died, Mom woke me up at 4 a.m. "Your father's gone. Not passed away, not died, just gone. Like he'd left for the store. Then, I need you to be strong about this. No crying, no making this harder than it needs to be." My dad had a collection, whole room dedicated to vintage electronics. Computers from the 80s, first-gen gaming consoles, original iPods, stuff that marked shifts in technology. Shelves of carefully organized tech, each piece labeled with a little index card describing what it was and why it mattered. He kept everything documented in this massive Excel spreadsheet. Item name, purchase date, condition, estimated value. Guy was methodical about it. Weekends, he'd hit estate sales and online auctions, hunting down rare pieces. Sealed first-gen PlayStation he said would help pay for college someday. Vintage Apple II he'd inherited from his grandfather. Prototype Game Boy. Each piece had a story. Mom hated it. Called it junk. Said it was embarrassing when her friends came over. Grown man playing with toys. Now Dad was gone, and the collection was just sitting there. First week after Dad died, Mom played grieving widow. Red eyes, asking if I'd eaten. One awkward shoulder touch. Day 8, the performance ended. Takeout boxes piled up. Mail went unopened. I'd come home to an empty house. No note, no text. Learned real quick how to make ramen and check if we had bread. With Dad gone, she got worse. More nights out, more spa weekends, more expensive shopping trips. I was background noise in her life. Something she'd deal with later, maybe, if she remembered. Week 3, everything changed. I came home from school and she was in the kitchen with this guy. Tall, receding hairline, gut hanging over a belt buckle the size of my fist. Affliction t-shirt. The kind of guy who looked like he sold used cars because, I'd find out later, he did. "Gage, this is Rourke. He's a friend." Rourke gave me this grin that didn't reach his eyes. "Hey, little man, heard a lot about you?" I hadn't heard anything about him. "Sure," Mom laughed, this fake sound. "Rourke's been helping me through a difficult time. He's very supportive. 3 weeks after Dad died, and she already had a boyfriend. Rourke tried the buddy routine whenever he came over. "Hey, little man, how's school?" Always calling me little man, like that made us pals. I'd give him one-word answers and disappear to my room. Mom ate it up, though. Suddenly she was home more, but only when Rourke was around. They'd order takeout, watch movies, act like Dad never existed. Like I didn't exist either unless I was in the way. One night, about 2 weeks after I first met Rourke, I came downstairs for water, found them on the couch, her practically in his lap. They didn't even notice me. I went back to my room, locked the door, and wondered when my life became this. Over the next couple weeks, Rourke was around constantly. Weekends, weeknights, always there. Using our bathroom, eating our food, taking up space. Mom was completely absorbed in him. I was furniture. Then about 2 months after Dad died, I came home and the house felt different. Empty shelves where Dad's vintage computers used to be. Gaps where the gaming consoles sat. Little dust rectangles showing where each piece had lived for years. My chest went tight. I found Mom in her bedroom, folding laundry like nothing was wrong. "Where's Dad's stuff?" She didn't look up. "What stuff?" "His collection. The whole room's empty." "Oh, that." She shook out a shirt. "I sold it." The floor tilted. "You what?" "I sold it." That junk was taking up space. She folded the shirt precisely, added it to a pile. Got $8,000 for the whole lot. $8,000 for 20 years of collecting. For the sealed first-gen PlayStation Dad said would help pay for college someday. For the vintage Apple II he'd inherited from his grandfather. For every weekend he'd spent at estate sales, hunting down pieces of computing history. That was Dad's. You can't just... I can do whatever I want, Gage. It's my house now. She finally looked at me, expression flat. And Rourke needed a car, so I bought him one. I stared at her. You bought him a car? With Dad's collection? Rourke's going to be my husband. He's my future. Your father's dead. She picked up another shirt. That collection was worthless to anyone but him. Time to move on. I was 13 years old, standing in my dead father's house, being told his life's work was junk, that his memory got liquidated for $8,000, so Mom's boyfriend of a few weeks could drive a used Camry. That's really messed up, Mom. She actually laughed. Not a happy sound, more like contempt. Oh, grow up, Gage. Your dad left me with a kid to take care of and no life insurance because he was too stupid to get a policy that covered his condition. My hands clenched. He had a disease. That's not... He was a burden. She said it casually, like commenting on the weather. Last year of his life was nothing but hospitals and dialysis and expenses. Rourke's the best thing that's happened to me in years. He's healthy. He's here. He wants to be part of this family. He's not family. Dad just died 2 months ago. And I'm done mourning. I gave that man years of my life, dealt with his sickness, watched him fall apart. I deserve to be happy now. She grabbed more laundry. Rourke makes me happy. He's going to move in this weekend. He'll be your stepfather eventually. Your real father figure. So you'd better get used to it. Something in my chest went cold and stayed that way. Dad was my real father. Your father was a sick burden who couldn't even leave us properly protected. Rourke is strong. He's capable. He's what this family needs. She pointed at the door. Now get out. I need to finish this before Rourke gets here for dinner. I left. Went to Dad's collection room. Now just empty shelves and dust. My mom had sold Dad's entire collection 2 months after he died. Bought her boyfriend a car with the money. Called Dad a burden while declaring this stranger my new father. I was 13. Couldn't drive. Couldn't work. Couldn't leave. Rourke moved in officially that weekend. Just showed up Saturday morning with suitcases and made himself at home. Started leaving his stuff everywhere. Used Dad's bathroom. Slept in Dad's bed. Walked around in his underwear like he owned the place. Mom was thrilled. The performance they put on was nauseating. Her cooking meals for him, laughing at his jokes, touching him constantly. Rourke playing the provider, the protector, the new man of the house. I was background noise. Something that came with the house, like the furniture. Rourke's true colors showed up fast. Guy was loud, aggressive, and had zero concept of boundaries. He'd walk into my room without knocking. Hey, little man, what you doing? Homework. Can you knock? It's not your house, kid. I go where I want. I started wedging my desk chair under the door handle, which worked until he noticed and told Mom I was being hostile. The real problem started when he began treating the place like he owned it. Eating my food, specifically stuff I'd labeled with my name, changing the TV mid-show, leaving his mess everywhere. And Mom thought it was adorable. One night I confronted him about eating leftover pizza I'd saved. Had it in a container with my name in Sharpie. Dude, that was mine. He looked at me like I'd said something hilarious. Dude, you're talking to me like we're friends, kid. I'm the man of the house now. You don't get to tell me what I can or can't eat. You're not my dad. And this isn't your house. His face changed. Got this look that made my stomach drop. Listen here, you little... Mom walked in. What's going on? Rourke switched instantly. Your son's disrespecting me. I ate some pizza and he's throwing a tantrum. Mom didn't ask for my side. Gage, apologize to Rourke. I stared at her. Are you serious? Now. I didn't apologize. Just went to my room and locked the door. Heard them outside discussing what a difficult kid I was becoming. Things escalated on schedule. Forgot to take out the trash. 20-minute lecture delivered at volume. One time I left my backpack in the living room and he threw it at me. Pick up your stuff. This isn't your personal dumping ground. Hit me in the chest hard enough to knock the wind out. I was about to say something when Mom walked in. Rourke, was that necessary? He shrugged. Kid needs to learn. And she nodded. Like chucking a backpack at a 13-year-old was reasonable. The physical stuff started small. A shove in the hallway, close enough to feel deliberate. A grab when I didn't move fast enough. His hand tight on my shoulder, steering me. Nothing Mom witnessed directly, but it was escalating. I started planning. I was 13. I couldn't do anything yet, but survival. Keeping my head down, staying out of his way, counting days. Then came the day everything broke. About 3 months after Rourke moved in, I came home to find more of Dad's stuff missing. This time it was his desk, this beautiful antique oak desk that had been his grandfather's. I found Rourke in the garage, loading it into a truck. Some guy I didn't recognize was helping. What are you doing? Selling it. Your mom said I could. That's not hers to sell. That was Dad's. Your dad's dead, kid? Get over it. Something snapped. I walked up and stood in front of the truck. You're not taking that. Rourke got out, walked over, and shoved me hard. I stumbled back, caught myself on the garage wall. Move. Now. No. He grabbed my shirt with both hands, lifted me slightly. I was 13, probably 110 pounds. He was twice my weight. I said move. I shoved him back. Didn't hurt him, but it surprised him enough that he let go. Then he punched me. Closed fist punch to my face. My nose exploded, blood everywhere, ears ringing. I hit the garage floor hard. Rourke! Mom's voice from the doorway. I was on the floor, nose bleeding, seeing stars. Rourke straightened up, didn't even look concerned. Kid attacked me. I was defending myself. I looked up through watering eyes. Blood dripping everywhere. Mom stood there, hand over her mouth, staring. Not at Rourke, at me. Like I'd done something wrong. Gage, go to your room, now. Not, are you okay? Not, let me see your face. Not, Rourke, what the heck did you just do? Just, go to your room. I stood up, blood running down my face, and looked at both of them. Mom wouldn't meet my eyes. Rourke looked smug. That's when I made a decision. I went to my room, locked the door, and cleaned myself up in my bathroom. Nose still bleeding, face already swelling, bruises forming under my eyes. Looked like I'd been in a fight, which I guess I had been, except fights are supposed to be between people of equal size and strength. This was just assault. Here's something they teach you in school that actually turned out to be useful. If an adult is hurting you and you don't feel safe, you call the police. They'd had an assembly about it. Recognizing abuse, knowing your rights. Before I called, I documented everything. Took photos of my face with my phone. The swelling, the bruising, the blood on my shirt. Multiple angles. Timestamps visible. Wrote down what happened while it was fresh. Saved it in my notes app. Found my phone's voice memo app and recorded myself explaining the incident with dates and details. Then I called 911. What's your emergency? My mom's boyfriend hit me, punched me in the face, and my mom saw and didn't do anything. The operator's voice changed, got more focused. How old are you? 13. Are you in immediate danger right now? No, I'm in my room with the door locked. But he's still here and I don't feel safe. Okay, honey? Stay on the line with me. Officers are on their way. The cops showed up about 15 minutes later. I came downstairs. My nose was still swollen. Blood on my shirt, bruising under my eyes darkening. One of the cops, this older guy with gray hair, took one look and his expression hardened. Son, are you the one who called? Yeah. I explained everything. Rourke shoving me pushing back, him punching me. Mom standing there doing nothing. The officer took notes while his partner talked to Mom and Rourke separately. Rourke was trying to sell his story in the kitchen. I could hear him. Kid came at me. I was defending myself. He's been out of control since his dad died. But cops have seen this before. Grown man claiming a 13-year-old attacked him, kid with visible injuries, adult with 0 marks. Story doesn't add up. The officer talking to me kept his voice low. Has he hurt you before? Yeah, multiple times. This is the first time he actually hit me. And your mother? She doesn't care. She's more worried about keeping him happy than protecting me. They arrested Rourke right there, charged him with assault on a minor. Watching him get put in handcuffs in our living room while Mom stood there crying. Best moment of my life up to that point. Gage, how could you? Mom was sobbing. Do you know what you've done? Yeah. I called the cops on someone who punched me, which is what you should have done. The other officer pulled me aside. Son, do you have anyone else you can stay with? Grandparents? Relatives? My grandma. Can we call her? I gave them Grandma Cordelia's number. She showed up in less than an hour, this tiny woman in her 70s with fury in her eyes. I want documentation of every injury. Photos, medical report if needed. I want copies of everything. They took photos right there. Face, hands where I'd scraped them, bruises forming. Told Grandma she could take me to urgent care if needed. Then Grandma walked past Mom without a word and came to me. Go pack a bag, Gage. You're coming home with me. Cordelia, you can't just take him, Mom started. The heck I can't. The police just arrested someone for hitting my grandson while you stood there and let it happen. Try and stop me, Leora. Mom didn't try. Just stood there crying about Rourke, about how I'd ruined everything. Never once asked if I was okay. I packed a bag, grabbed what was left of Dad's stuff I could carry, and left. Grandma Cordelia's house was small but comfortable. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, lived there since the 60s. Compared to living with Mom and Rourke, it was paradise. First night there, she made me actual dinner. Home-cooked pot roast with vegetables and mashed potatoes. I hadn't had a real meal in months. Eat up. You're too skinny. What has that woman been feeding you? Nothing, mostly. I've been making my own food since Dad died. Her jaw tightened. Well, that stops now. School was weird. Had to transfer districts, which meant new kids, new teachers, starting over mid-semester. But fresh start wasn't the worst thing. Nobody knew my situation. I was just the new kid. Grandma Cordelia got temporary guardianship sorted with a social worker, but it wasn't instant. There were home visits, school forms, background checks, and a caseworker who moved at DMV speed until she actually saw my face and the police report. Then things moved faster. It was easier since Mom didn't fight it. Probably too busy with Rourke's legal issues, or maybe she just didn't care. So the paperwork went through in about 6 weeks. Rourke got charged with assault on a minor. Spent a week in jail before making bail. Mom spent her savings getting him out, which I only know because she called Grandma Cordelia, screaming about it. I heard it through the receiver. You have no idea what I'm going through, Cordelia. Gage destroyed my relationship. Grandma cut her off. You spent money bailing out the man who assaulted your son instead of using it to get your son therapy? Leora, you're not the victim here. Goodbye. Then she hung up. But I knew Mom wasn't done. About 2 weeks later, she showed up at Grandma's house. I was doing homework when the doorbell rang. Grandma answered, and I heard Mom's voice, all fake sweet. Cordelia, I just want to see my son. I want to apologize. Apologize? You stood there while someone hit him. I was in shock. Please, just let me talk to him. Grandma looked at me. I shook my head. She nodded. He doesn't want to see you, Leora. Mom's voice changed, got harder. He's my son. I have a right. You lost your rights when you chose Rourke over Gage. Leave. Now. That's when Mom forced her way in. Just pushed past Grandma and came into the living room. Gage, baby, I'm so sorry. This has all been a mistake. Rourke's gone, I kicked him out. Come home. I didn't believe her. You kicked him out? Yes. He's gone. It's just us now. Did you tell the prosecutor you're dropping the charges? Her face twitched. Well, I can't exactly do that. So he's not gone. He's just out on bail and you're lying. Do you have any idea how much money I had to pay to get him out? You always do this. You've ruined my life since the day your father died. What if Rourke doesn't want to be with me anymore because of you? You're nothing to me anymore. You sold Dad's stuff. You let Rourke move in. You didn't care when he hit me. So no, I'm not coming home. That's when she snapped. Came at me screaming, hand raised. I stood up, pushed her away when she tried to hit me. She stumbled more from surprise than force. Then she started screaming. He's hitting me! Cordelia, your grandson just assaulted me! Grandma Cordelia was already on the phone. Yes, my former daughter-in-law just forced her way into my home and tried to attack my grandson. Yes, he's a minor. Yes, she has a history. Her boyfriend was just arrested for assaulting this same child. Mom's face went pale when she heard police. The cops showed up and Mom tried her story again, shouting about how I'd attacked her. But the officer wasn't impressed. Ma'am, do you have custody of the minor? I'm his mother. That's not what I asked. Do you have legal custody? Well, temporarily it's been given to Cordelia, but then you're trespassing. You need to leave. They escorted her out. She screamed the whole way about how I'd hit her, how I was ungrateful, how I'd ruined her relationship, how I'd pay for this. Grandma filed for a restraining order after that. Rourke's trial happened when I was 15. Took almost 2 years from arrest to sentencing. The system moves slow. I had to testify, which sucked. Had to sit there in a courtroom while Rourke's lawyer tried to make me look like a troubled kid who'd attacked his client. Isn't it true you were angry about your mother's relationship with Mr. Rourke? I was angry he was living in my house and eating my food. Yeah, angry enough to physically attack him? I pushed him after he shoved me. Then he punched me in the face. That's not self-defense. That's assault. The prosecutor was better. Showed the photos from that night. Showed my medical records. Pointed out that I was 13 and 110 pounds. Rourke was a full-grown man. Asked the jury to use common sense. Mom testified for Rourke. Showed up in this nice dress like she was going to church. Took the stand and lied. Said I'd been acting out since Dad died. Said I'd been aggressive toward Rourke. Said the punch was an unfortunate reaction to Gage's provocation. I sat there listening to my own mother throw me under the bus to protect her boyfriend. The prosecutor asked her directly, Mrs. Miller, when you saw your boyfriend punch your 13-year-old son in the face, what did you do? I, I told Gage to go to his room. You didn't check on him? Didn't call for medical help? Didn't call the police? I was in shock. For how long? The police report shows Gage made the 911 call himself 20 minutes after the incident. Were you in shock for 20 minutes? She didn't have an answer for that. Rourke got probation and anger management classes, the system being its usual joke where domestic violence gets a slap on the wrist. Judge gave him 18 months supervised probation, 52 weeks of anger management, and a restraining order keeping him 100 yards from me. 18 months for punching a kid in the face. That's when I learned the courts wouldn't deliver justice. So I'd have to. But Mom stayed with him. She'd testified for him, damaged her credibility, maybe even hurt her custody case, all to keep Rourke out of jail. That told me everything about her priorities. I heard through old neighbors that Mom and Rourke were still living in the house. Rourke had moved back in after probation started. They were playing house in my property. Every time I thought about it, I got angry. Not hot anger, cold anger, calculating anger. The kind that waits. The kind that plans. When I turned 18, I found out about the house. Dad's estate lawyer tracked us down after 3 years of chasing old paperwork and a dead phone number. He sat me in Grandma Cordelia's living room and explained that the house had been Dad's inheritance, locked in a trust with him as sole beneficiary. When Dad died, it passed straight to me. Mom had no claim. She'd just been living there as his wife, and now she was basically squatting. So it's mine? Yes. Property, land, everything. Your grandmother's the trustee until today. Now you control it. Grandma looked as shocked as I felt. Does Mom know? I asked. The lawyer sighed and slid over a stack of receipts. He'd sent multiple certified letters to the house and to Mom directly over the past 5 years. Everyone came back unopened. Mom never told me. Grandma's face went tight. I knew there was a trust, Gage. I thought Leora had access after David died. If I'd known she was hiding this, I didn't say anything. But I knew exactly what I was going to do. I'd been living with Grandma Cordelia since I was 13. 5 years of watching Mom choose Rourke over me. 5 years of saving every threatening text and voicemail they sent. 5 years of keeping my head down and working part-time at a hardware store. I'd been stockpiling evidence without even knowing why. Turns out, I was just waiting for this moment. The day after that meeting, I got to work. First thing I did was pull the county deed history online, paid the $15 access fee, downloaded the full chain back to 1968, original deed from when my grandparents bought it, the transfer to Dad when they died, the trust documentation, printed it all, highlighted the trust language like finals week, made copies, stored them in 3 different places. Then I found Dad's old Dell in a box Grandma had saved. It was password locked because of course it was. I brute forced it over a few nights using every family detail I could think of, and eventually it popped open. On the desktop was a folder called David's Tech Archive. Dad had cataloged everything: item, condition, purchase date, price, estimated value, updated monthly. Last update was 2 months before he died. I cross-checked it with recent sale comps. Leora didn't just sell his collection. She gift-wrapped about $35,000 of value and handed it to a flipper for $8,000. I already had years of saved voicemails, threatening texts, and angry emails from Mom and Rourke. I organized everything by date, backed it up to cloud storage, external drive, even printed transcripts, added a notebook documenting every boundary violation, every threat Rourke made through third parties, dates, times, witnesses. I also had the documentation from Rourke's assault case, police report, photos from that night, medical records from the urgent care visit Grandma took me to the next day. The prosecutor's office had sent updates, and I'd kept everything in a binder. Now I started reading eviction law. My state required 30 days notice for unauthorized occupants. After that, you could get the sheriff involved. But there were tricks people could pull. Fake leases, claiming tenant rights, delaying tactics. I read forum posts from landlords dealing with nightmare tenants, learned about squatters' rights, adverse possession, all the ways people try to game the system. So I learned the counter moves. If Mom claimed she had a lease, I had documentation showing the house was in trust. If she claimed tenant rights, I had evidence she was unauthorized from day one. Made notes, prepared counter arguments. 2 weeks after my 18th birthday, I sat down with Grandma Cordelia. Gage, the house is yours. What do you want to do about it? I want to take it back. All of it. Now. You know she'll fight you. Let her try. I've got the deed, the trust documents, the lawyer. What's she got? A boyfriend with a record and a history of making bad choices. Grandma nodded. When you do this, you do it right. Legal, clean, no mistakes she can use against you. That's the plan. The paperwork to transfer everything into my name cost me about $800. Worth every cent. I put down a retainer on an eviction lawyer after that. I wasn't giving her a single procedural crack to crawl through. My lawyer was this older guy, probably mid-60s, who specialized in property disputes. First meeting, he laid it out plain. We serve notice, they have 30 days to vacate. If they don't leave, we file for eviction enforcement. Get a judgment, sheriff removes them physically. What if they fight it? They will. Your mother will claim tenant rights, maybe produce a fake lease. Rourke might claim he's been paying rent. They'll delay, file motions, drag it out. He leaned back. That's why we need ironclad documentation. Trust papers, deed, utility records, bank statements showing zero rent payments. No paper trail, no case. Made sense. What else? Photos. When this goes to enforcement, I want photos of the property showing the condition, showing your ownership is legitimate. Document everything. If they damage anything, if they threaten you, if they try anything physical, you call the cops immediately. Build the paper trail. I had most of that already. The rest I could get. One more thing. When they're out, you change the locks immediately. I'll have a locksmith on standby. They will try to get back in. You don't let them. Everything goes to storage. 48 hours to pay fees. Then it's auctioned. Clean break. What if they show up anyway? You call the police. Trespassing arrest. You don't engage, don't negotiate, don't feel sorry. They had 30 days. They made their choice. I liked this guy. Cold, methodical, exactly what I needed. The eviction notice got served 3 weeks after my 18th birthday. Process server handled it professionally. Mom lost her mind. Screaming calls to grandma, voicemails I saved but didn't listen to. The legal timeline was 30 days. She ignored the notice like it was spam, told neighbors I was bluffing. They tried dragging it out, but the trust docs were basically a brick wall. Judge wasn't in the mood for their improv theater. 30 days later, I showed up with the sheriff's department, my lawyer, and a moving truck I'd rented. Grandma Cordelia came too. I've waited to see Leora get what she deserves, she said in the car. This is going to be therapeutic. The deputy knocked. Heavy official knock. Rourke answered wearing sweatpants and a stained shirt. Guy looked like life had been using him as a stress ball. More gray hair, bigger gut, face like he'd been numbing himself for years. Rourke? Leora? Yeah, what's this about? Eviction enforcement. You have 10 minutes to gather essential belongings and exit the property. Any items left behind will be moved to storage at your expense. Rourke's face went red. Started puffing up. It's not, I cut in. House is in my name. You're out. The deputy's hand hovered near his belt. Rourke suddenly remembered how to breathe like a normal person. Mom came to the door. She'd aged badly. Looked tired, worn down, roots showing in her dyed hair. Gage, please, you can't do this. I can, actually. I'm the legal owner. You're trespassing. You have 10 minutes. This is my home. Dad's house passed to me when he died. You've had 30 days. You're done here. She tried crying. Tears streaming. Dramatic sobbing. Gage, I'm your mother. Where are we supposed to go? Should have thought about that before you sold Dad's collection for scrap. Before you let Rourke put his hands on me and called it my fault. Before you hid those letters for 5 years because keeping this house mattered more than keeping me. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I turned toward the house. You made your choices. Now you get to live with them. Rourke tried to get aggressive. Stepped forward, puffed up. The deputy put a hand on his baton. Sir, I'd advise you to step back and start packing. Rourke backed off. They scrambled for 10 minutes, grabbing stuff, shoving it into garbage bags. Rourke cursing under his breath. Mom crying, me watching with my arms crossed. The deputy made them leave. They stood on the sidewalk, garbage bags at their feet. Rourke's car loaded with whatever they could fit. Mom tried one more time. Came up to me, mascara running. Gage, please, I know I made mistakes, but I'm still your mother. Doesn't that mean anything? I looked at her. Felt nothing. No. You're going to regret this, Rourke said, trying to sound threatening. Moving companies clearing out the rest tomorrow. You've got 48 hours to pay storage fees or it gets auctioned. Your call. I walked into the house. My house. Left them standing on the sidewalk. Inside was both familiar and completely wrong. They'd changed everything. New furniture, painted walls, removed any trace of Dad. The room where his collection used to be was Rourke's office. Just a desk with car magazines and empty cans scattered everywhere. Place smelled like stale cigarettes and cheap air freshener trying to cover it up. I walked through slowly. The living room had this massive TV and leather couch that probably cost more than they could afford. Kitchen had dishes piled in the sink, trash overflowing. Bedroom, Dad's bedroom, had Rourke's clothes everywhere. Mom's makeup covering the bathroom counter. Then I found the drawer. Just a random kitchen drawer stuffed with junk. Old batteries, expired coupons, takeout menus, and there, underneath everything, a stack of certified letters. All from the lawyer. All unopened. I pulled them out one by one. First notice about the trust. Second notice about my rights as beneficiary. Third notice informing Leora she had no legal claim. Fourth notice strongly recommending she seek legal counsel. Fifth notice warning that continued occupancy could result in legal action. All unopened. All ignored. She could have dealt with this years ago. Could have made arrangements, found a place, moved out on her own terms. Instead, she just ignored it. Hoped it would go away. Hoped I'd never find out or never care enough to fight for it. I took photos of the letters, still in their envelopes, still sealed. Grandma Cordelia came in, looked around. What's the plan? Gut it. Renovate completely. Then rent it out. Not gonna live here? I shook my head. Too many bad memories. I'll make money off it instead. The trust was ironclad because my grandparents set it up specifically to protect the property. When Dad died, the house passed directly to me through the trust, bypassing probate entirely. Mom was never on the deed. She could have fought it in court, but she would have lost, and her lawyer would have told her that immediately. She didn't contest because she couldn't win. Over the next few months, I did exactly that. Hired contractors through recommendations from my hardware store manager. But first, I walked through the whole place one more time. Dad's office. They'd painted over the wall where he'd carefully marked my height every birthday. The hardwood floors he'd refinished himself. Scratched to heck, cigarette burns in 3 places. The garage where he'd kept his tools organized like a surgical room. Total disaster. They'd sold most of his tools. Left the rest to rust. Closets were stuffed with trash. The bathroom leak had turned into mold. The bedroom wall had a Rourke-shaped hole in it. And the carpet confirmed they'd had a dog they couldn't be bothered to clean up after. They'd lived in Dad's house for 5 years and treated it like a dumpster. Then I gutted it. Contractors ripped out everything. Carpet, fixtures, drywall where needed. Repainted walls, replaced flooring, updated everything. Found a few items of Dad's they'd missed hidden in closets. Some photos, a couple books, his old watch. Kept those. Everything else got trashed or donated. Renovation wasn't cheap. I financed it with a loan against the property. When it was done, the appraisal came back at $280,000. I listed it for rent at $2,200 a month and had a solid family signed within a week. Mom tried reaching out a few more times. Texts I didn't read. Calls I didn't answer. One awkward encounter at a grocery store where she tried to approach me, and I just walked away. 6 months after the eviction, she called from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. Gage, please don't hang up. Her voice was wrecked, crying, desperate. I said nothing. I know you don't want to talk to me, but I'm in trouble. Rourke left. He's gone. I let the silence stretch. Wanted to hear this. We were in the apartment for 4 months. Things were tight, but we were managing. Then he started staying out late, coming home a mess. I found texts on his phone. He was seeing someone from his work, some 24-year-old. She laughed bitterly. When I confronted him, he just left, packed his stuff while I was at work and cleared out. Okay, I said, flat, emotionless. Gage, he left me with everything. The lease is in both our names, but he's not paying his half. He had credit cards I didn't know about. Put my name as an authorized user. Collections is calling me for his debts. I'm looking at $7,000 I didn't even spend. Sounds rough. I can't afford the apartment alone. I'm barely making rent. I had to sell my car just to cover last month. I'm taking the bus to work now. Gage, I know I messed up. I know I made mistakes with you. But I'm your mother. I need help. Just a loan. A few thousand to get me through this. I'll pay you back, I promise. I let her finish. Let her lay out the whole pathetic story. Rourke the coward bailing when things got hard. Her stuck with his mess. Struggling alone in an apartment she couldn't afford. The timing was perfect. Leora, I said, used her first name deliberately. You made your choices. You picked Rourke over me. You sold Dad's collection. You let him hit me and blamed me for it. You hid legal documents about my inheritance for years because you wanted to keep living in a house that was never yours. And now Rourke did to you exactly what you should have expected. He used you and left when it stopped being convenient. Gage, please. You told me Dad was a burden. That's what you called him. A burden. Now you want me to carry yours? Not happening. You've got 7,000 in debt? Figure it out. Get a second job. Sell your stuff. Move somewhere cheaper. Do whatever you need to do. But don't call me again. You're really going to abandon your own mother? You abandoned me first. You just didn't move out when you did it. Difference is, I don't feel bad about it. I hung up, blocked the number, went back to my day. Heard through the grapevine after that. She'd moved into a studio across town, working overtime to dig herself out of Rourke's debt. He was living with the 24-year-old. Already moved on like Leora never existed. Didn't care. Not my problem. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories. Thanks.